What do you think about the fact that Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it was so effective in real fights that now it's mass commercialized? Every community has a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym. As a matter of fact, I'm a white belt, but the local gym I go to, you got to bow before a little Helio photo. It seems every community has Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Has that cheapened the art form?
No, I think it's the opposite. That's kind of give you value. I think what is important those days is the programs they teach on those schools. Those are really something and my concern, and that's why the whole idea of creating this new federation is not exactly to compete with the existing federations or the organizations, but is to give guidance. Because I feel like today, Jiu-Jitsu, if you ask me what's the biggest problem in Jiu-Jitsu, I think is the loss of effectiveness. And if you tell me what's the service the sport and the Jiu-Jitsu needs the most, I tell you it's service. In terms of guidance to restore effectiveness and also bringing a bigger spectrum of what Jiu-Jitsu can do for the community, because those days you see a lot of Jiu-Jitsu schools teaching only sport Jiu-Jitsu. And not only that, the sport Jiu-Jitsu today changed a lot based on what was and what it is, because in the continuous competitive aspect, the fighters, they start to develop what I call anti-jiu-jitsu moves into the fights. So the fight becomes boring because the guys are not willing to commit fully. They want to try to win by strategically being perfect on the holds and the stallings and the 50-50s and the butting bolos. And so those techniques, they didn't improve the effectiveness. They improved the capabilities for the guy to become efficient and get medals, but losing effectiveness in real life and self-defense. So that kind of spreading of the art, taking the art for a more sportive model, that's, I feel like, is very negative. I feel like the art's supposed to grow, but giving to the school a bigger spectrum of accepting different people, like a shy kid, children, women, competition class, self-defense class, because that's where Jiu-Jitsu will be representing the favor for the community. What I believe is the core of our work, Mm-hmm. And my school is always being welcome, not only competitors, not only ways to the medal, it's just self-defense. And then I realize what the student needs the most. If he needs build self-esteem, so let's give him movements for him to feel like nobody going to push him around or grab him by the throat. If he needs to become more comfortable, like more calm, we're going to give him ways to breathe and to relax and to be in peace with himself and be less aggressive. So the idea of Jiu-Jitsu is to fulfill the needs of the student in terms of for him to become a better person, a better man, a better lawyer, a better doctor, a better police officer. Not exactly make him efficient to make medals and take him away from the real life situations. And if we don't think in the way to help the competitive aspect and also the educational aspect, the federation has no meaning of giving something for the community and for the sport. The federation will be having only a meaning of having almost a corporation to make money in tournaments, to have franchises, and have a kind of a close view of the sport instead of seeing the whole community and the whole needs. Because for the sport to grow, we need only sportive jiu-jitsu. But for the concept, the real jiu-jitsu to grow, we need to have instructors who teach the art and favor the society as a whole. So it's a gap there, it's a big need for redirect jiu-jitsu in the direction it needs to go to kind of become a more effective and more supportive to the community.
Now, it seems to me that you want to make sure that the jiu-jitsu that's being taught at the local dojos are more street effective, that it's
Yes.
lost. So how does that work? I mean, are you going to have like videos once a week saying, hey, what you learned at the local dojo, that doesn't work, this is what works? I mean, how does that...
No, we try to become a very supportive to the community, and that means we're going to support from the simple practitioner to the competitor, to the teacher, to the school owner, to the federations, to the independent promoters. How we plan to do that? By the platform we just created, we're going to have, first of all, the communication aspect of it, which I feel like is crucial. We find we have a governing body who listen, who tells for the community, not exactly with private interests of like okay, I'm going to report this tournament, but I'm not going to say anything about this other tournament or this other association. So it has to have a governing body who's going to recognize all the associations, all the tournaments, try to create a global ranking, you know, by doing the information aspect well done, like we're going to list it for free, all the academies in the planet, all the legit academies in the planet. We're also going to have a list the academies which are affiliated to us. But even if you're not affiliated to the federation, you will be listed, you will be referred as a solid academy. We're going to list it, all the athletes in the planet, like you can have your own profile if you're a competitor, if you're a practitioner, to be able to have like a slash Facebook into the site to ask, to listen the voices of the masters. We're going to have also a masters council which has voice, active voice to the community to refer themselves about a technique, about a rule, about a concept of self-defense, whatever they want to say to enlighten the community. So we're giving them voice to participate of the forums and so on. We're also going to create a development council, which are made for guys who are not masters yet, but own many schools and participating of bringing students for tournaments and so on. So they will have also a voice to guide Jiu-Jitsu to a more effective and more profitable and more supportive situation. I think a federation has to have a position to unify the community, to bring everybody to ask, to have answers, to resolve the matters which provide us a kind of restore effectiveness, to preserve our art and philosophy. At this point, anyone, after they get famous through tournaments, like a very tough fighter, been winning, being from blue, purple, brown, black, he becomes famous, he opens a school, and he cannot teach nothing else but what he's been developing tournaments all his life. So he don't have the full spectrum of information. So the federation tries to suggest him, if he becomes certified by the federation, he will have a much better program to offer, and and he will be much closer to the traditional aspect of Jiu-Jitsu. So we're not going to disvalidate, we're going to validate everybody, but we're going to suggest better rules for tournament to create less stalling and better guidance for the fighters to fight in a way they will translate very, very easy to tournament, to real life. The way they fight today doesn't translate for real life. They have no clue how to fight on the cage or on it's too much grapes and berimbolos. I don't know if you are with me, but so I try to bring better rules, more effective rules, more dynamic action, more something which gonna translate more in real life. I like to inform the instructors what they should teach to give a better support to the community, to have better techniques to show for kids, for women, and so on, law enforcement. So I feel like in order for us to redirect the boat in the direction to preserve our culture for the future, which I believe is being diluted, I feel like it's all a process of a good information, having contributors from all over the world saying whatever they want to say, all the tournaments in the same basket, all the results. We try to be something for the community, a platform which everyone who has passion, who has questions, who have observations to do, he will click there and he will have somehow the information he needs, where he's going to train, what programs they have in the schools, how certified the student. So I think that's the motion for, in medium and long term, regain the direction Jiu-Jitsu needs to go through the future and preserving everything.
Well, you are certainly the guy to oversee this because you're the closest thing to your father, Helio, that's out there. So you're the guy. Are you, what might happen is in order for street effective jiu-jitsu to evolve, you might have to have almost real-life grappling sessions. I mean, is that something that could happen? Because if you want it to evolve, well, you're going to...
Yeah, it's a normal thing for us to, in some classes, we put gloves in somebody, and you say, okay, you, no gloves, you cannot punch, you just want to clinch. So to give to them the sense of stay away, because it's all about distance, it's all about perception, timing, and the ways to approach. So if you just a pure blood competition jiu-jitsu, you not have even access, you don't even grasp the real life situations. You just in grips and berimbolos and things. So if the instructor add to all this information somewhat self-defense moves, as you become a white belt, you start to become familiar with deflections, with ways to neutralize the striking, effective ways to bring the guy to your guard, effective guards for vale tudo, because some guards are not applicable in vale tudo, and I see some great jiu-jitsu representatives trying to bring sportive guard to the game of vale tudo, of the cage, and they become tremendously disappointed with the lack of results because they trying to give a triangle in somebody, the guy already know the defense, he make a good posture and ground and pound. So you have to be lethal from the bottom. You have to know self-defense. You have to know how to use your legs in a way to make the best of it from the guard. So, and they start to getting away from that self-defense concept and training because they just focus on the sportive side. So that's why I think every solid jiu-jitsu school has to have a self-defense program to cope with the competitive program. I cannot see a jiu-jitsu academy without that kind of very healthy combination. You have to have some sessions of how to clinch, what strikes you should use without gloves. So you cannot punch somebody in the face with a bare hand. So you have to use the open hand, the side, you have to use the elbow, your head. So you have to have those elements to feel familiar with, It's not exactly, I'm not preparing the guy to go in the cage. I'm just preparing the guy to feel like the whole spectrum of his possibilities, and that will make definitely a huge impact in the way he handles life. Going to give a good sense of empowerment, self-control, and you can make a guy change his life just by learning some concepts,